Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Today is January the 24th, and I am here to tell you about the little bit of stitching I got done today. It's been an interesting day. I've been working on knitting together a video, editing it today, and getting it ready, hopefully to put up tomorrow or Saturday, sometime this weekend. I've stitched one of my prompts so far today, and it was my Bringo prompt, and that was the one where I had to stitch on something with a bird. And sure enough, I did love Abide, because look, it's got several birds all through it. And I finished all of the words and the bird on the end, and I did just what I said I was going to do, because I got off in my words when I was first stitching this. I started the bird here in the wrong relationship to the line above it, and it's 1/1, or 2/1 actually. I'm doing it really thick, and I did not want to frog it all out. So what I did instead is, when I got to the other end over here, instead of putting the two birds here and running it all the way out to the end or past the end where it would look uneven, I just put the bird in the same relationship as far as how much space is here. I put that much space here, and I put the bird there. And it's fairly close to being even in the middle. Close enough that I'm not going to put a second bird here. So I like things very symmetrical anyway, and I think that looks a little more symmetrical by just having the one on each end. So I've done the words 2/1. I don't want to do this whole big piece 2/1, but what it looks like is this tree is going to be huge, and I'm going to have these little tiny words up in here. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to wind up having to stitch all of this over one to make it work out, or just let that at the top be small and have this be huge. I think it would be okay to do that. I think I'm going to do it that way and just see what it looks like. So the next thing I would need to do now, I have to do this little thing in the middle, and then that'll give me the point to kind of get the tree off of it, and I can work on it. But today I stitched 112 stitches in it. I only needed 100 for my prompt, which is great. And now I can put it back in my project bag, and it'll be ready for the next time it's called. This is not one I'm focusing on. This is one that I started. It was a gift from my friend Glow. She had stitched it, and I thought it was really neat, so she sent it to me, and I started it. But it's not for any particular purpose, and so I don't have a deadline for it. And so I'm just using it for prompts. It's not a focus, to a finish kind of thing. So my other prompt today for my bingo group is Nativity. And it is already, what time? 9 o'clock at night. And I would just now be starting to stitch on it. So I'm going to save that for tomorrow. I'm not even going to try. I'm sorry. I have an early morning tomorrow, and I think that I need to get to bed on time tonight. And if I start working on that tonight, as it takes me a little while to get back in the pattern and everything, I think it would take me too long. So I think instead I am going to just grab something I want to stitch on. put a few stitches in, and then try to get to bed by 10 o'clock, and because I have to get up so early in the morning. So I'm going to do that. I probably won't come back and share it with you tonight. I'll probably grab it in the morning when I'm showing my stitching for tomorrow. I have an early morning. I'm hoping to get to talk to my friend Glow in the morning, and then my husband has a doctor's appointment early in the morning. I need to see how that's going to work out for him. And then at 1 in the afternoon, I'm supposed to go to my friend Juliana's house and stitch with her part of the afternoon. And then tomorrow night at 7:30, I get to Zoom with my friends Lori and Dee and Donna. And we will stitch, and we will work on our acrostics, and start planning for next month, those that we have already, because we won't have the daily 30 yet, and we won't have 24 hours of cross stitch. She doesn't publish hers until the 1st, so but we'll work on the ones we can, and we'll talk about our plans for next month, and kind of do that sort of thing. So that'll be fun. So I'm going to have a great stitching day tomorrow. Now, somewhere in there, I have to get my Nativity stitching done. And then tomorrow, I did mention I have a new start for my final Bringo number. And I also will have, let's see what my final bingo will be. Small gift. So I have a new start I can do tomorrow. I've got Nativity I have to do tomorrow before I can do small gift. Or at some point in this month, I need to catch up on that one and do Nativity and small gift to finish the bingo board. But I will do my new start if at all possible tomorrow. Even if I take it with me, I could do that. And tomorrow is the 25th. So tomorrow night, we get new Whip Go numbers. I'm excited about that. So that'll be fun. Well, I'm going to let you get back to what you were doing. I hope you were stitching while you were watching. And I am anticipating having some stitching to share with you tomorrow. So I look forward to it. I just hope whatever you're stitching, whatever you're working on, that you're loving every minute of it. Happy stitching, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. It is the 26th of January, a Friday, and I'm here to give you a little bit of stitching news so far. Well, as you know, the 25th is the last day that we call a number in our Bringo and Bingo, and I am happy to share with you I have a blackout on my Bringo board. Then I'll tell you, I finished all of that on time, but to get all that done, I let my bingo game go on hold for a couple of days until I could catch up on everything, which we have till the end of the month to do that, so that's okay. But my call that I was catching up stitching on yesterday was actually from the 24th, and it was Nativity, and I wanted to share with you where I got to on that. I decided to work in this wing because I have gotten the central figures kind of in place here, and I decided to just come over here and start working my way down the side and then just go across like this possibly. So I got this wing almost finished. I've got a couple of colors left to do in there, but in doing so, I did stitch 136 stitches, and I had a very short amount of stitching time yesterday. I had some things to do here at the house, and I don't take this one with me when I go anywhere. As you can tell, it's pretty intense. So I finished this one up yesterday and posted it, and so that's the progress that I made on Nativity, and looking forward to pulling it out again in February, because I put it on my acrostic for February just so I would get a chance to work on it. This is what it's going to look like hopefully when it's finished, or something close to that. So really tickled to be at that point with it. And then my my actual last prompt for Bringo, which was the 25th, on the 25th yesterday, was a new start. Isn't that exciting to end it with a new start? My new start was the Crocette Gogo. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But anyway, this is Keep Calm and Cross Stitch. And you can stitch it this way in smalls. Or they do have it where you can stitch the entire piece as a sampler. And I do have a picture of that, so I'll show that to you, but there's a pattern on it, so I have to block the pattern. Hang on. 1 second, let me do that for you. So here is the sampler all together. I think it's beautiful, but there's a lot of repetitive motifs in there, and there are motifs that are stitched with one color in one place, and then they just flip-flop the colors and they stitch somewhere else. So I liked this version better with the smalls, and I decided I was going to do 3 smalls. The one that was on my Bringo board was the Keep Calm and Cross Stitch, this one, the long one. And then I plan on doing this one and part of this one. I'm not going to put all the little flowers necessarily, but I'll do the little mice over to this border as a small. And I'm going to make them into pillows like this and hopefully put them in my little dough bowl as part of a springtime decoration. And that's important to say that it's a springtime decoration because I did not have the call for blue or pink in my master set. They are in somewhere in a project being used. And so I decided I have some Lizzie Kate pillows that I made a few years back that I put up on my mantle quite often. And they're beautiful sayings, very positive sayings, and they're in bright spring colors. So I picked a pink and a couple of pinks and a couple of blues that I felt would match those bright spring colors so that I could use those pillows and these pillows together. So here is my Keep Calm and Cross Stitch. I started and finished it yesterday. So I'm pretty excited about that. My final Bringo call was a start and finish. So Keep Calm and Cross Stitch. So that's what I stitched on yesterday. I went to my friend Juliana's house to stitch with her and got to love on her little puppy, Stella. Aunt Coco was not happy with me when I got home. She could smell Stella because Stella sat in my lap while I stitched. Anyway, I got this stitched quite a bit, and then last night I had a Zoom call with friends. We were going to talk about acrostics and plan what we were going to stitch on for our acrostics, and we did that, and then we just stitched together and chatted, and I finished it while we were talking. So that was pretty exciting. I got to stitch on it with my friend Juliana, and then I got to finish it with my other friends, so that worked out. So now I have one final piece to stitch for my bingo game, my private bingo game, and it is Small Gift. So sometime this month, I don't know if it'll be today or later this week, but sometime this month, before the end of the month, I will pull out Small Gift and I will stitch on it to finish that bingo board so that I have a blackout on it as well. I'm not necessarily thinking I have to do it today because I would like to just be able to pick something and stitch today. I do have a new challenge that's been posted in the Daily 30 group. I haven't looked at it yet, so I'm kind of reserving what am I going to stitch on until I read that today and see if I want to start working on it and stitch on it for some tokens. Then tomorrow we have friends coming up from the town we used to live in Macon, Georgia, and they're coming over to have lunch with us. And then we're going to exchange our Christmas presents. We haven't gotten together yet. They always do their family and we do our family, and then we let all the excitement wind down. She has to get her business back online because she takes it off a week or so at Christmas. And once she gets everything kind of where she can manage it, they come up to our house. We've offered to go to their house, but they like to come to our house. And she says because then she doesn't have to clean up and everything. Anyway, we'll have a great day tomorrow, but I don't know that I'll get any stitching done tomorrow. So that's another reason I want to wait and kind of see what I want to stitch on today, knowing that I might not get any stitching time tomorrow. Well, I did put up my video this morning. You'll get to see all my framed pieces, except for the very last one that I just took to Michael's. And I'm excited about that. I can't wait for you to see them. And now I just start a new vlog starting today. So I'm glad that Nativity made it this time. I had a couple of people ask me when it was going to make another appearance. And so I'm just whittling away at it a little bit at a time. I did enjoy stitching on it, and I really wanted to stitch more on it. But I had to get on to my final piece for my Bringo. And I'm glad I did because it worked out well with all my traveling and talking on Zoom and all. It worked out really well. So I'm going to get busy stitching. I hope you are, and may have something to share with you later on today. Hi everyone, welcome back. It is later on January the 26th, Friday, and I am happy to report that I completed my final stitch in my little personal bingo game that I was playing with my friends. The last call was small gift, and I had to stitch 100 stitches in it. But there was a new challenge put up this morning in the Daily 30 group, and one of the things that we had to stitch for was to stitch on something that included gold or yellow and red. Well, small gift certainly does that. And we had to stitch a minimum of 200 stitches. We get credit for up to 300 stitches. So I just decided I'm going to be stitching on small gift. I've got to stitch a lot of stitches in it. It's my final one. I'm not in a hurry to move on to the next one. I'm going to backstitch. And that's what I did. So here she is. I backstitched the entire girl that's shown, all the way up to her collar. I even rolled this loose. I loosened it and rolled it up a little bit so I could do across the bottom of her collar. But her entire coat, flowers, everything is backstitched. And I think they just pop off of there now, even more so. I even went and backstitched around the white stitches that form the buttons. And you can see them better, but I still might put beads on them. I just wanted to try that. I even came over here and started backstitching on the reindeer until my thread ran out on that final thread. But 524 back stitches, and I count 2 stitches to make 1 cross, so that's half of the actual motion that you make. But I think it makes a world of difference. I really do. I like that I can see the division in the coat a lot better. I can see the flowers a lot clearer. But I just think it looks wonderful there. I have decided, since the back stitching is right at the edge, that I will come down here and put just a little more snow on the bottom. And then I'm going to roll it up till about, well, I haven't back stitched here, so I'll have to back stitch this little deer, and then I can roll it up and to get, on up to finish the top part of it. But it's getting there. It's getting a lot closer. It's on my year of whips, so I'm feeling really comfortable with it. But I tell you, I was so tickled to get that back stitching done today. I'm glad I took the time to do it, because not only does it look better, but that was a lot of back stitching that I had looming ahead of me. And so now, that's great. It's done. So where does that leave us? Well, I have the challenge that I want to do this month. I have 2 weeks to get it done. But, small gift I just finished. One of the other prompts is to stitch on a WIP that has 2 of something. And I am intending to use Halloween Quaker for that because it has more than 2 cats on it. It has 2 houses on it. Has actually 3. But I think that it has plenty of pairs of things, and so I'm going to use it for that. And then we're to stitch on a WIP that has a motor transportation. And when I had that recently for Bringo, I used my 13th Colony because of all the sailboats on it, and I think I'll do that again. And that'll give me a chance to put more stitches in it. Then we have to relate to a WIP that relates to a different country. And I'm going to do something a little funny, tongue-in-cheek with this one. I'm going to stitch on Santa's house because it's at the North Pole, and that's definitely a different country than mine. I hope they won't discount it, but I want to do that one. I think it'll be fun. There's another one that we are to do to stitch on a WIP that represents family or friendship and explain why. And I have a coupon for a free one, so I think that's the one I'm going to do for free. Most of my WIPs I have right now are for my house, which you could say it's for my family. It's for my family decor, but really and truly, it's not a gift for my family. It doesn't represent my family, and so I'm just going to use the coupon for that one because I don't want to have to stretch quite so hard to try to make it fit. Anyway, so there you have it. That's my stitching so far today. It is about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I am delighted that I got this far, that I got that much back stitching done, but I am ready to take a break, and I think I'm going to take a walk, and then I'm going to come back up here and maybe pull out one of these other WIPs and hit a prompt today. Probably Halloween Quaker. So we'll see how that goes, or 13th Colony. I like stitching on both of those, so we'll see. I'll be sure and come and share it with you, though. That is, you can count on. Happy stitching, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome back again. It's a little bit later on the 26th of January, and I want to talk to you about a prompt in my Daily 30 group, one of the challenges that I stitched for today. And this one was to stitch on something that had 2 of something in it. And so I decided to stitch on Halloween Quaker. Halloween Quaker has 2 witches. It had multiples of a lot of things, but then I got to thinking that they might have wanted only 2 of something. And so I chose to use the witches because there are only 2 witches. There's this one riding the broom, and then there's that one whose face is in the Halloween. There are feet down here, but this is the face of the witch. So I'm counting those as the 2 witches. And I stitched on this to meet the prompt. I needed 300 stitches, but I decided on my own I was just going to finish the motif that I was working on. And so here is where I'm at. Ah, I'm so excited. I got those 3 houses finished. I don't think any of them, maybe the one in the middle, is stitched 100% as it's charted. I don't know what it is about building a house that I can't do well, but those have been giving me fits. So I finished the whole motif that has houses in it, and I'm delighted to be finished with it. I think they're beautiful, but I'm so glad to be over them. And I was not gonna keep going without finishing that house today because I didn't want to have to come back to it. So there are a few things left to do. There's a cat, kind of a part of a motif. I have from here to here to stitch to finish this piece. It's one of my year of whips, so it is definitely one that I want to work on. But I think I'm tired, I'm weary now. I'm going to put it away for today. I have it on a prompt in February. So I know I've got at least one more time I'm going to stitch on it in the very near future, because it's for an acrostic in February. So I can start working on that right away on the 1st if I want to try to get it done. So that's probably what I'll do, putting my threads away now. I try to keep everything together so I don't lose it. So we've got that done now. Put that in here. So the next prompt I need to work on for my Daily 30 group is either my 13th colony or my Santa's house. And I had promised my friends over in Alabama that are starting a stitch along on the 1st that I'd wait to the 1st to stitch on it anymore with them once I started it. So I think that means that the next thing I pick up will be 13th colony. And so hopefully I'll get to do that tomorrow. And that will be, once I hit that one, that'll be 4 of the 5 prompts that I'm working on. So that'll be fun. It's getting close to the end of the month. So any progress that I make toward finishes now, I'm just making because I want to stitch on them, more so than for prompt stitching. And that usually is what happens kind of toward the end of the month. Anyway, well, I have heard from 5 of the 7 winners for my giveaway for my 8 years on FlossTube. So I thank you all for letting me hear from you so quickly, and I hope the other 2 are not far behind you, and then I can get all those out in the mail. I've already mailed the first 4. I've got one more already ready to go that I heard from today. He had actually emailed me sooner, and it went to my junk. And so I was so happy that he followed up and said, "Did you get my email?" Because if he hadn't, I wouldn't have even thought to go look. So I looked for everybody in there. Don't worry, I've looked. So there are 2 of you that I'm still waiting to hear from. So check it out. Let me hear from you with your mailing address so I can get yours in the mail to you too. Well, I'm going to head out. I think it's time to have supper. And I'm going to run downstairs. I think I've got some soup I'm going to heat up. My husband is registering for a race in New Orleans coming up in March. He's making his travel arrangements. He's going to stay in a hostel while he's there. That's something he's become much more familiar with while he's been hiking, and he found one in New Orleans. So he's real tickled about that. And he's purchasing tickets to go to a museum and do some sightseeing while he's there. I'm going to stay home this time, take care of Coco, and I hope he has a great trip. He deserves it, and it's time for him to have a little time for himself, and I hope he thoroughly has a good time. So I'm glad he's making those arrangements, and in the meantime, I'll get soup on, and we can have some supper. So I will talk to you later on and hopefully have more stitching to share with you. Happy stitching, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome. It is the 27th of January, and I actually am getting to talk to you today, which is a big bit of a surprise for me. We had friends come visit today from Macon, Georgia, which is about, I would say, a good 2 hours away. They made great time, no traffic on the road today, but it did rain on them the whole way. But these are friends that we had not seen probably in about a year. And we had been waiting to exchange a couple of Christmas presents. My friend Cheryl, the one I made the little joy for. Anyway, it went great. She absolutely loved her Raggedy Ann piece. She had never ever seen that pattern of Raggedy Ann, which is amazing because, you know, she's a big collector and she's seen just about everything. But the reason she hadn't seen it, it was in a magazine, For the Love of Cross Stitch, from 1993. And so I also gifted her the magazine for her collection. But she did tell me that she loved it in the word joy because it could just sit right out on her shelf, in her collection, in a grouping for Christmas. And she said that's easier for her to display and enjoy than an ornament would have been. So I am delighted that we found those joy stands at Hobby Lobby around Christmas time when we were shopping together, Mary, Donna, April, and I. And so it was a huge hit. She loved it. I think that's awesome. So this morning, while I was waiting for them to arrive after I had, you know, made the bed and straightened all the blankets that Coco had been laying on and picked up the toys and all that stuff, I came up here and I stitched, and because I didn't have much time at all, I just grabbed what I had out from the night before. I had not even put it away. And the last thing I stitched on was my 13th colony from By the Bay, and I did that for a prompt in the Daily 30 group, so I had to do 300 stitches in it. So today, I just stitched until they got here, and then when they left, it was time for supper. It was about 7 o'clock. And so my husband and I ate some leftovers really quick. And I came up here to get just a little tiny bit of stitching done. So I again just picked my By the Bay back up, my 13th colony, and this is where I'm at now. I'm so thrilled. I got all the water done. I got the mountains in the back done. And I've gotten the grasses that will be around the bottom of the tree. So I'm working on this end on my part 2 over here. So the next thing will be this big tall tree, and it's got 4 branches like this. That's what it's going to look like. It's kind of a mirror image of that, or a pair to that tree. And then beyond that tree is just a couple of, a mirror of this, you know, greenery here is on the other side of the tree. And this mountain comes all the way down to the land on the other side of the tree. And then you've got water and, you know, to fill in here. And it's probably a full 3 columns of 10 that I need to stitch to finish this bottom portion. And then of course the top of the tree like this will be over there too. So in actuality, I have a partial page, 3 columns on one page, and then I have a partial page for the tree, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's about 6 columns wide. But again, it's a little tiny, you know, part of a tree, and then those little groupings of greenery. So it's getting closer and closer to a finish. This is By the Bay, By the Bay's 13th colony, part 2. And so when I finish this one, I will start right away on part 3. I will count this as a finish for my year of whips because I put it on my year of whips to finish part 2. I was hoping it would inspire me to work on it more and more and get that part 2 finished early in the year so that there is a hope and a prayer that I could stitch part 3 in 2024. Might not be able to finish the whole thing, but I would love to. So that is my 13th colony. Extra stitching. Wasn't for a prompt, wasn't for anything. It was just extra stitching. So I'm going to put that away. And what I think I'd like to do now is it's too early for me to work on my whip go for next month. I want to wait and do that on the 1st. So I think what I may do is pull out my Halloween Quaker again. I know you're seeing these close together. I apologize for that. But these are the two that I'm pushing toward a finish. And I could get at least another motif maybe or two, because I've got a couple of small ones next stitched on it. And then tomorrow, of course, we have our church activities. And then tomorrow afternoon, hopefully it'll all pan out to work well. I get to talk to my friend Marissa, and we have not talked in a long time. She has been caring for her mom and dad. She has taken a leave of absence from her job to do so. So it's been very intense, daily care. And we have not been able to talk. And so I heard from her today, and she wanted to know, could we catch up? And so tomorrow at 3, we're supposed to chat. So I will, if I get my Halloween Quaker out tonight and kind of get started on one of those motifs, then I could have something to stitch on with her as we talk. And that would be an easy one for me to do that with. So I think I would want to do that and maybe get a couple of motifs closer to a finish on that one. And I think I'll stitch a little bit longer. It's only 9:30. It's a little early for me to stop. I probably won't come back tonight and share it with you. I will probably stitch until I start to feel a little bit sleepy, and then I'll head to bed because we have a busy day, tomorrow. All right. I can't wait to share my next stitching with you, and I'll let you see how the progress is coming. So I hope you are having a great week of stitching, a great weekend of stitching. I hope you're getting a lot done, and I hope you've got your plans ready for February. Happy stitching, everybody. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is January the 28th. It's very late. I have had a wonderful day of stitching today. After church and lunch today, my husband and I were back home. The weather was not rainy for a change, and so I took Coco for a walk early there this morning. And before we left, and then my husband took her for a wonderful long walk this afternoon. But I started stitching this morning before we left, and then after lunch I picked it back up. And you will know that I have been trying to really work on this whip because it was getting closer and closer to a finish. And I had said a few times I would love to finish this whip because it's the designer focus in our Garage Stitchery Facebook group, and that is Lila's studio. And my Lila's studio that I was working on is Halloween Quaker. And I had finished these houses the last time I think I shared it with you. I'm not even sure if I showed you all of the houses, but I had finished that when I picked it up today. I started on this little black cat. So I stitched all day, off and on all day. And I finished it today. So here's my Halloween Quaker. So let me tell you about it because it is a little different. It's not exactly as the pattern. It is from the top down almost all the way across until you get to the bottom row. And the bottom row to me was crowded. It was packed with motifs and stitching and whatnot. And so I'm working my way across, and I had gotten off somewhere in the first house, and one stitch or something, and I wound up having to change the windows. So then I worked all the way across there. Then I did the cat, and I did the large motif. But when I got to the cat, in the pattern, there is a W. I think it stands for witch. It's purple. It's right above the cat, if you can see it. I didn't want a letter on my piece that you didn't know what it was for. I decided I didn't want to do that. There was an H in the heart, I think for Halloween, but since my last initial is H also, that was fine too. But I left out that purple W. And over here in the houses, there's another bat above one of the houses. I think it's right over here. And I felt like it was too crowded. I felt like it detracted from the spider web above it. So I left the first bat out. And then I left out the W for witch, because I'm not about witches that much anyway. So then I walked my way on across, and I did the heart shape and the H and the motif and the witch's legs. And then when I got to this end over here, you were supposed to put in your initials in the year and a blue heart underneath here. And there was another motif on the side over here. And I just felt like it was too crowded. It's just so busy there. It was just so busy from here over. I just felt like you couldn't really get a good view of everything. And I used the alphabet and the numbers in the pattern for my initials, and I put them in the space that was allotted for them. But in order to do that, I ran over the space that was allotted. So I knew I wasn't going to have room for the little motif right here on the side. So I decided I was going to do this little flower that's tipped on its side there, which is really cute. And I was going to do my initials in the year. And so I did that. I left out the heart that was above the flower that's laying down on the ground. I left out the heart because to put it in there with my initials in the year would be very, very crowded. So I just took out, what, a bat, a W, a heart, and that little motif on the edge. So 4 things across the bottom. And look, I think it looks completely appropriate. I think it's full enough. I think there's plenty down there. I don't think you miss it, in other words. So that's what I did tonight. And of course that took a little while trying to calculate where everything was going to be. I thought about moving the witch's shoes over a little bit to keep that from being quite so crowded, but then I needed the space for my name and the year. I didn't want to crowd that, and I didn't want to put it all the way to the end. So I just feel like it turned out really well with the little bit of changes that I made, and it's my piece, so I can do that. One of my wonderful commenters kept reminding me that one of the bird's beaks was missing a stitch. I hadn't done the full stitch in the beak, so I want you to know the beak is there. Because I asked her, I said, don't let me frame this without finishing that. Another thing I had to do tonight is I had to go back over here where those cats are around that pretty purple motif and put their eyes in, because I hadn't put eyes in those cats. And I noticed that when I was checking it over, kind of after I fixed the bird's beak, and I was looking to see, did I leave anything else out? And the birds do not have eyes stitched for them. They're not stitched in the pattern. They're left open. So I left them open as per the pattern. So don't tell me that I missed eyes for the birds, because I didn't. They're not stitched. But anyway, I think this is lovely. I think it's beautiful. It's quite intricate. And I love some of these beautiful motifs. Some are just quite Quakerish, and others are very Halloween, like the spiders, you know, the skeletons, the black cats. I think those are great. But I am thrilled with the result. So here it is. This is my Halloween Quaker. And it's my second finish on my year of whips. It's not my second finish for the year. I've had several of those already. Working on those smalls when I first started it in January. But I am tickled to death that I could finish my Lila's Studio Halloween Quaker in the month that we were focusing on her as our designer of the month. So there you go. Halloween Quaker is done. My second year of whips. I think that's awesome. And I don't think I do. I have Halloween Quaker on my whip go board. So I will have to come up with a new whip go piece for number 16 on my board. But thanks for letting me share it with you. It's late. I'm going to go to bed. But I didn't want to go to sleep without sharing with you that I had a finish on Halloween Quaker today. Very excited about it. I'm very pleased with how it turned out. And this is one of those that I think I will frame. I don't think I would make it into a pillow or anything like that. I am going to frame it. I may have to wait a little while to take it to the framer because I've used all my gift cards. So I'll have to save up for framing on this one. But anyway, thanks for letting me share it with you. And I hope you have a great week next week of stitching. Happy stitching, everybody. Hi, everyone. Welcome. It is January the 30th, and it is about 9:30 in the evening. I just wanted to come by and share with you what I've been stitching on for the last 2 days. There's a group that I have been working with called the Determined Stitchers, and they pick a pattern every year that they want to divide into 12 sections and finish by the end of the year. So this year I had decided, well, last year I did Kringles, and you know I did finish it. And this year I decided I wanted to work on one of my pieces that I felt like was going to be a challenge to get through. And this is my Snow and Mountains by Madame Lafille. This is the French name here, Neige Montaigne, or Montagne, I'm not sure how to say that. Anyway, I went through and divided what was left of this piece into 12 pieces. I had done this top row, and I had done part of this one. So the first section is half of this middle block, top half and bottom half. So I had to do the top half for the month of January. And I had worked on it for some prompts and things and had gotten some of it done, but I had not finished it. And yesterday I pulled it out and thought, well, I have a few days left in the month. I want to finish my January section. I don't want to get behind the first month in my, piece that I want to finish this year by dividing it up. So yesterday I stitched 517 stitches in this, and today I stitched 617. So I did roughly half of it yesterday, not quite. But this section is now complete, and in fact, I stitched a little extra right here. But it was difficult for me to come down here to that breaking point and stitch a color that might have only 1 or 2 X's in my section and then have 1 or 2 left right below it. And so I couldn't help myself. I went ahead and finished those colors right here just because It was important that I did that. So I did a little bit more than I had to, but that's okay because that'll just help me next month because the second section is the bottom part of this middle. So I will do that section in February. So the fact that I've done a little extra right here is great. So that'll work out. But I loved it. I think it's beautiful. I enjoyed that I was able to stitch on more color, not just the snow and the snowflakes. So that was fun. And so what you can look forward to next month is going to be the bottom half of this. And I think part of it actually does break into the pine cones there, if I'm not mistaken, where the lines are drawn. But I made a working copy of the pattern, and then I took a colored pencil that I do to use to mark my patterns when I'm working on them, my working copy, and I just divided it up with my colored pencil and had it ready. So January is complete. So now I'll take a picture of it and post it with the group so they know I've got my January section done. And tomorrow is the last day of the month. So I'm thinking that I'm going to go ahead and start my February berry because it'll take me several days to finish it. And I may not even get to finish it at the first of the month. But it's the one thing that I've said I want to stitch every month is an ornament. And it's the berry ornament. Now mine may not be made into hanging ornaments. They may be made into, they're supposed to be turned into berries. And so they may go into a bowl, but that's okay. That's what I'm working on with my friends. And so I'll get that taken care of. But I'm very pleased with stitching today. I had a little bit of an anxiety about it. I didn't think I was going to get to stitch that much because I went off today with my husband. We decided to go to Dahlonega and have lunch there. And then my husband wanted to go to an equipment, outdoor clothing and equipment store that was up in the mountains to try on a backpack that he's looking at. So I thought that when he invited me to go with him for lunch, that this shop was right there at Dahlonega, you know, right in town or right on the outskirts of town or something, and that we would eat lunch, and then he'd just run in there and look a few minutes, and we would come back home. But he recommended that I take cross stitch with me in case I wanted to just sit in the car and stitch after I, you know, checked out the shop, and I said that would be great. Well, this place was in the mountains, and I do mean mountains. We were going like this the whole time, and I have never had a problem stitching in the car. A lot of people can't, but I've never had trouble doing that until today. It was so windy and twisty-turny that I couldn't do it. It made me nauseous. So I put it away. I didn't get to stitch, and that's okay. But we had a lovely day. It was beautiful weather, and my husband got to, you know, try on this backpack and figure out which size would fit him. They didn't have the size that he thinks he needs, so now he's got to order it. But still, it was a very good, you know, mission for him to be able to get what he wanted as far as to know which backpack he needs. So I'm happy for him for that. We had a day out together, which was really nice. And then we got home about 4:30 in the evening, and I cooked us some dinner. And then tonight I got to do some virtual stitching with a friend, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. And so we were working and talking and visiting. And tomorrow I'm going to try to take my Halloween Quaker to the framer. So I'm going to see if I can do that. I would love to. It's supposed to be a beautiful day tomorrow. It's not supposed to be raining, and so I want to take it when it's not raining and see how it turns out. So that's what I have planned for tomorrow. And of course, stitching, trying to get a jump start on my ornament for February. I'll be doing that. And then I already have some of my acrostics planned, but I've got my bingo board made out, my little private bingo board that I do. And so I think I'm about ready for February. I've almost got everything ready to go, which is great. I want to thank you for letting me share my stitching with you. I do have a couple of people I have not heard from the giveaways. This one by Teresa Koget, Prim Hen in Basket. This one was won by Stitching Bettynos, Betttynos, Stitching Betttynos. So if that is your YouTube name, this is what you've won. If you are interested in that, please send me your mailing address via email. If you've sent it to me, I haven't gotten it. So I have been checking my junk file because one of the addresses went to my junk mail. But the individual followed up with me and said, have you gotten my address? And I hadn't seen it, so thank goodness for that. But if you would please send me your address, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're not interested in it, if you changed your mind, would you just email me and let me know that, and I'll redraw for that one. And the second one that I'm waiting on is the Toil and Trouble by Plum Streak Samplers. And this one was for Cheryl God, SHERYLGOD, Cheryl God. If you will email me your mailing address as well, then I can get that in the mail to you. All the other 5 have been mailed, and so I'm looking forward to them enjoying them. Some have already let me know that they've received it too, so I'll send it out as soon as I get your address. So if you could do that for me, I'd appreciate it. If I don't hear from anybody, of any of you two, in another week, then I will redraw for these, and so that I can get them out to someone who would like to stitch them. So thanks for that. Thanks for participating in the celebration, and I hope that you have a great into your January, and I hope you have a great month of stitching in February.